Hi, everyone. It is Vismaya Rubin from Living in Gratitude today. And I have a very special guest on. Her name is Ariana Fernandez. She likes to be called Ari. And I'll tell you about her in 1 second. So, she and I are having this conversation, one, because she's awesome. And we'll tell you a little bit why we're redoing it on Zoom in a second. And the other reason is because she is one of the participants in our gratitude journal that just came out. And this journal is really rocking. It has three parts to it. One, you actually write down your daily gratitudes, what you're grateful for, the large things, the small things. It also has a place for you to take action steps. So let's say you're feeling kind of down, you don't know what you want to do today, or you just want to keep that level really, high and keep it going. There are action steps you can take on a regular basis so that you're able to amp up your level of happiness, amp up your level of prosperity. And there are many different things. They're free and they're really fun. And then the last part, and this is where Ariana comes in, is that there are free gifts throughout the entire journal, and they support you in all areas of your life. And the gift that Ariana is sharing with us is that it supports you in the area of love. But I can't tell you what that gift is because you have to get the journal to find out. So before we have our chat, I want to just kind of let people know who you are, because you have such a cool background, and I think it really leads into why you're such a powerhouse and such a great relationship expert and coach. So Ariana Ari Fernandez, relationship expert, is a mom to three amazing girls, wife, entrepreneur. She worked in sales and customer service training and development for 10 years in various industries. She became a certified master coach in 2012. Her personal relationship journey took her through 2 divorces and a winding adventure of self-discovery to really find who she is, what she wants in her life, and in a life partner. She found the yin to her yang in 2012, married soon after, and in 2014 had a baby, and then another in 2017. You can have the relationship you truly desire no matter how many missteps you have had too. That's really what you live by. She uses her extensive knowledge of psychology, training, and her own personal experience to support you in achieving a loving, passionate relationship that lasts a lifetime. Sign me up.
Yeah.
So, we were on Facebook Live on Valentine's Day because this is the conversation we had on Valentine's Day. And the technology was wonky. At one point, we were blurry. And then once both of us were on and the video was clear, I was echoing the whole time. So we decided that this was such an important conversation. We were going to jump on again on Zoom and then share it all over the place and really get our message out there. Because I think that, the conversation we had really had me thinking. And I will tell you, I shifted because I didn't want to go out on Valentine's Day. I was doing stuff at home. And I needed to go somewhere and drop off some journals to somebody. And I ended up going and having the best time. So that was part of, I see one.
Oh, you can go. Sorry, real life.
Real life, it's okay. So really, let's talk about that because, we had the...
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. It is what it is, So share a little bit about what you said, because the technology was a problem and, we were resilient. We did not give up.
Well, it really sparked. First of all, I want to acknowledge you for going out on Valentine's Day by yourself, I assume, or you met friends or something.
Well, I went to somebody's house.
Oh, you went to somebody's house. Awesome. Yeah. So we can get into that in a minute, but as the technology was going wonky and you were kind of frustrated with, not being able to be heard, the static, your echo, and then getting me on and, all the stuff going on around us. And, we wanted to bring a message, right? A beautiful message, a beautiful conversation. We both have so much to share. And thank you for, bringing me on into this conversation. And I was thinking, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like in marriage, just like in relationships, because we go through our daily life so concerned and worried, like so many things happen. Kids come into the room when they're not supposed to come into the room. And especially with communication issues, there's miscommunication. Like we were having the, static and the echo. And those things happen all the time. And unfortunately, what can happen is that those little frustrations, they build up and they become really big things in our life that we feel we can't overcome. And they're really momentary issues. If you can, like, if you think back on those moments, it's like, well, you know, while you're in it, it's the worst thing ever. But then if you think back to like what was going on, it was like, well, it was just kind of frustrating. Whatever, we got over it. We got the message out. Um, and that's just like in a relationship, while you're in it, while you're in an argument, while you're in a moment of miscommunication, it's very frustrated and you're like, oh my god, I can't deal with you, I don't want to be around you. But it's about getting past that and understanding that that's part of life. It's part of when you're trying to use technology, sometimes it goes off. And sometimes in relationships, the same thing. Those moments are going to happen. And the gold, what I call like the gold and the golden nugget of relationships, is getting past that and working through it and realizing that there's beauty on the other side.
And
Just like
staying
this,
committed, like
huh?
staying committed and
Yeah,
staying
staying
true,
committed.
you know, true to what it is you say you want. And
Yeah,
you know, I know you've read The Science of Getting Rich before. One of my favorite quotes, and
a
I
couple
might,
times.
but yeah, was something to do with, you know, appearances may not seem the way we want them to be, but hold truth and hold, you know, your vision, so that, because you know that what you want is on the other side, and it's easier to give in to the appearances. That's what was really powerful. So it's easy to give in
I love
when the
that.
relationship isn't going right. It's like, forget this. And it's much harder to hold on and work through it. And really, that's what we're doing right here. This is our third or fourth time, not even kidding, to get onto Zoom today. um, we tried 3 or 4 times on Facebook, and we made it happen. And I think that was such a valid point when you said that, you know, about relationships, that it takes work if you
It
want to.
does. And I can really tell you also, from not knowing what I know now and not having the skills that I have, the skills that you have, the gratitude practices, realizing how much, because that also helps me as well. In those moments of frustration, I try and remember what I love about my partner, what I love about my husband. If it's an and it's and it for me, it also extends to the rest of my family, the other relationships that I have. You know, I try and stop, like, this is just a moment that I'm frustrated with this person, but I really care about them deeply and getting over this. So my commitment, like you said, is greater. My commitment is greater to having a beautiful relationship. And my commitment is not always to winning, even though I would love to win all the time. Who doesn't?
Right.
But my commitment is not to winning. And there are those moments where I'm just like, I want you to see my point, and I push and push, and it has a very bad result. But what I was going to say is that before all this, I delved into this and I went on my journey and everything. I I was like that, you know, those little moments were like, I'm done. I can't, you know, this is never going to work out. Um, you know, I can't be with this person. They're wrong for me. They're not it. Or this person doesn't love me. Or, you know, but I mean, there's like variations of that, you know, like it really depends on the person. But um, I wasn't able to see past what was my immediate occurring um, feelings and emotions. Now, of course, we're all human. We make mistakes. Sometimes I wallow in my stuff.
Yeah.
sometimes I get frustrated and I lash out and I'm passive aggressive and my husband's like, "Are you okay today?"
So I'm going to tell
And
you my other favorite quote
yeah,
is there are only two types of people who never experience negative emotions. So let me say that again. There are only two types of people who never experience negative emotions like fear and anger and frustration. Do you know who they are? Did I tell
They're
you this already?
dead.
One is dead people. They obviously can't experience anything.
Yes.
And the other one are psychopaths. So if you're experiencing those emotions, you're okay. You're alive and you're normal.
You're all right. I love that. That's amazing. So true. But I always remind people of my imperfection because I think that we look to other people who've kind of made it or made it to another side and who are, experts in a certain field and you're like, "Oh my gosh, they have it all together." Um and I do and I don't. I've learned some things maybe that others have not, and I've put myself in those spaces to learn that. But just regular, real world stuff, and I just like to always remind myself of where I came from and where I'm going. Okay, so can you go for a minute? No, Sabrina, not right now. Close the door.
Real life.
A real life. And one of the joys and outcomes of my wonderful union with my husband. And honestly, I never thought that I would get there. um, and one of the things about love and loving ourselves, one of the things we talked about, and you said that came out of our conversation, is that I learned that it's not only about like extending that for our partners. I think women were always kind of programmed to give, to give. And I really learned about giving to ourselves and taking care of ourselves and what makes you happy
So
and
hang on
what
a second. People, these are one of the golden nuggets that Ari shared, so you want to write it down. She shared a bunch of tips and we're kind of going over them. So this is one of them, and this is coming from a woman who is in a relationship, and I think that's really powerful. And remind me to touch on that after, because
sure. Yeah, no, that the biggest gift I think we can give ourselves is loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves. And that's also the biggest gift you can give your partner. Because one of the things that I struggled with is I didn't really know myself so well because I was always externally focused. So when somebody asked me what I wanted, I would be like, "What do you want?"
share with
And
everybody what your Valentine's Day wish was, your ultimate supreme
oh,
Valentine's Day wish.
my ultimate, it's so funny. I have three girls ranging from a teenager to a baby. So my ultimate dream is to wake up in like a fancy hotel on like beautiful crisp white sheets with and be totally asleep for like hours and hours and then wake up to a cheeseburger right in front of me. My husband could be there or he doesn't have to be even. It would be better if he was. That would be nice because then I could have my cheeseburger, sleep, and then I could have sex. And that would be great. That would be like perfect. But if he's not there, I'm okay with that too because it's just time for me. That's what I want. That's my ultimate dream.
I love
And
that. That was awesome.
you know, we all have our things, and it doesn't have to be elaborate or crazy, but learn what you want. I did a recent live about this and really thinking about how we don't express what we want and we don't ask for what we want. And with Valentine's Day coming up, it extends to how to have Valentine's Day every day is asking for what you want and knowing what you want. And,
Because we're
you
taught it's rude to ask for what we want. We're taught it's rude to say that these are the things I need.
yeah,
And you had touched on this before. We want the surprise, and I love the element of surprise. But
yeah,
like you said before, the other day, if you want the element of surprise, guess what?
yeah, you got to accept what comes to you because
And
I
be
think that
grateful.
yes, be grateful. And so I had somebody ask me, well, I want it to come from them and I want them to be surprised. And I said, okay, so ask for a surprise. So they got a surprise and they're like, oh, no, that's not what I meant, which is if you think about it from the outside perspective, that's like, oh my gosh, how could they? But I bet you that someone has done that before. I know I have. I know I've wanted a surprise, asked for a surprise, and then been like, oh no, that's not the surprise I wanted. But look in the dictionary of what a surprise is. Surprise is like something unexpected, something, that something you weren't expecting. And we try to control so much the outcome that we are not appreciative of what we're receiving. So now, if something isn't exactly what you desired or wanted, now then you have to do another type of work is what I to let your partner know throughout time things that you enjoy.
And that's
You,
also where part of the element of surprise can come in, because now you are expressing what it is you want, and
yeah.
then they get to surprise you with that.
Yeah, you're laying the foundation for it because a funny thing about my husband is I like flowers. I don't love them all the time because I feel like an impermanence of flowers, but I like enjoying beautiful flowers in my house. And he never gets me flowers. And I one time said, I'm like, you never get me flowers. Not even on Valentine's Day, not even on my birthday. And I got really mad one time. I said, so and so got flowers, and this person, and they're always, that's a bad place to be in comparing yourself. But he said, I don't want to be predictable and expected. I want to get you flowers random days. It could be in 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. Whenever it hits my mind, I want to do it. I don't want it to be like I'm expected to do it. And then he also told me I have, you know, uh, expensive taste, which, that's a whole other subject, that I like fancy flowers. But um, he he was right. If I'm waiting for it and expecting it, if he does it all the time, then for him it's just he just wants to be able to do it when it's on his mind, and I accepted and I respected that that's his perspective, and so I could get flowers whenever, and I'm unattached now to the expectation of receiving flowers. If I really wanted them, one, I get them for myself, you know? And two, if I really want him to get it, I say, hey, honey, I would love, a bouquet of flowers this week. And be specific. If you want it this week, say this week. And it's it's a small thing. And like you said, we're conditioned to think that that's selfish, that
It's
that
rude.
is high maintenance. I hate that term, but that we're, like only into material things. Not true. Not true. That's all our conditioning. And, if that's not what it is for you, if it's doing something for you, then ask for that. Whatever it is, doesn't have to be a material thing. That's just an easy, quick example. But yeah, you said you wanted to circle back to something.
Right. It's interesting. As a single woman, I keep hearing this whole, right before Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is not about loving in the couple, and it's a Hallmark holiday. And then, we had just talked about self-love, and I am absolutely for self-love. I have to tell you, every time I'm on a live call, my nose itches. I don't know why. You know, but I also think that we get to experience the magic of Valentine's Day, and and participate in the deliciousness of it, because I'm not in a relationship, so I get the self-love and taking care of yourself, and being your own, warrior and your own champion. And I also know that if I was in a relationship, that would be a day that I get to celebrate and love. And I think it's important to not push it away, or say, oh, it's not important, and not give it an over importance where
Yeah, the
I'm
balance.
disappointed and frustrated. I was thinking about it today. I said, what if we said, I'm so excited for Valentine's Day because it means that I get to hang out with my honey, and it's a scheduled date that we have, and we know that we're going to be together
Yeah.
without all the other expectations, or again, but scheduling in that time. And it may not be February 14th. Maybe it's, November 16th, but it's, about planning and scheduling those times in, and getting and being anxious, and not anxious, but being excited, and
Excited.
right, and ready to celebrate. So as a single person, I know that next year I am looking forward to Valentine's Day because I will have manifested the man of my dreams.
That's right. I'm I'm calling it forth for you too.
I know. I've got a whole bunch of people calling it for me.
I I really love that perspective, what you said, and especially from your perspective as somebody who is not currently in a committed relationship, and getting the fact that I feel like as a relationship coach, I wanted to be inclusive to everybody, but I also wanted to let married women and not just married, but in committed relationships know that it also is to take care of yourself, and that if what happens is not to your expectation, that you can also be happy in that moment if it
Right.
is with yourself. Like, um I didn't do a whole big thing, for me, being that I have little children. It's a
As we
lot
have
harder.
seen.
Huh?
As we have seen.
Yes, you've seen. Yes. um it's challenging for anything, but I made my husband a dinner that I know he likes. I like to cook, so that's the way I was expressing my love. I didn't even get him a card, to be honest with you, because I just didn't have the time. But I know that every week, every day, I do something that shows him. And on that day, we talked about it. He was sick too. It was sick on that day. So it's okay that it's not like a picture perfect idea or even what your idea would be, but that you bring, like you said, that spirit of excitedness. And I was excited because my kids were excited about having little parties at school. And I was excited because I was going to do a live with you. And I was excited because I was going to share this moment with people. And I was also excited because I had a special moment with my husband too. It just maybe wouldn't have been what people think of like traditional like date night or anything, but it worked for me. It filled a cup in that moment. But I know that I also plan out other things, other days, other moments. This
So
is
let's hit on some of the fun stuff we talked about because I know that you gave some other fun ideas. So we got self care, like really taking care of ourselves. The other one you had just mentioned was asking for what you want.
asking for what you want.
And you had said something about bubble baths and
Oh, yeah. Well, in the self-care thing and taking care of yourself is, I find that I can't really take a bath and I don't have a big tub.
I love
So I do I do essential oil showers, and it sounds weird, but like you put the shower on, you put a couple drops in your tub or the floor of your your shower of an essential oil. Like I like lavender. That makes me feel like really nice. And the steam of the shower brings up all the smell just like it would like in a diffuser. And it gives me that moment of just, I just shut everything out. It's just that moment is just for me to enjoy the breathing of the calmness. And it could be a 10-minute shower, it could be a 5-minute. It's just that moment you set aside just to be you, to be with you. um and that was something that I didn't really um think about before. And you can try different things. Doesn't have to be what's traditionally out there, is what I say.
I love it.
um yeah. So as for what did I say? I remind me what I said. As for what you want, the self-care, and then
I wanted to share a little bit about the magic relationship ratio. And there's a positive psychologist who talks about the positive relationship ratio. And it's really powerful because it ties in very, very well to gratitude and to my I love you bags. Um, the idea is that when we say something negative to our partner, because usually they're the ones who get the brunt of our frustration or our anger because we tell them everything. We want to share everything with them. And
yeah,
we also, as much as we share our joy and our celebrations, we also share when we're angry or pissed or frustrated, and they get it all. So
yeah,
he says that for every negative comment you make to your partner, you need to come back with 5 positives.
I love that. Yeah,
So one of the things we talked about is I have these I love you bags, and they were designed really based on that principle so that you are focusing in. Let's say you give yourself, there's 36 cards in the bag. So you say for 30 days, I am going to find one thing that I love about you today. And your partner's doing it and you're doing it. So, and you're not talking about it. So each day you have your own bag and you're writing down, wow, I love the fact that today, honey, you did the dishes. Or I love the fact that today you woke up and when you looked at me in the morning, you thought I was the most beautiful thing, even though I had bedroom hair and my breath smelled like, dead cat or whatever it is. I love the way that you take care of our kids, and you're writing down specific instances that you have observed, and then you're putting them in the bag. And then at the end of the time frame, let's say a month, you sit down and you read them to each other. You really look in each other's eyes and you connect and you read these things that you wrote to each other, and then you celebrate. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh yeah. Best part, right? But oh my gosh, I love that so much. Getting goosebumps thinking about it. um I might have to take that on and maybe do a little experiment for everybody and do it in my own life and show how it comes out, because um just by doing just by bringing gratitude, personally, and reminding myself about how many blessings I have. I think one of the things that I mentioned is when when I get frustrated with my kids and when I get frustrated with my husband's job, and he works a lot of hours. He's a salesman, so he's not home today on a Saturday, and he won't be home tomorrow on a Sunday either. So it's very difficult for me to get what I need because of the way my life is structured. And in those moments when it gets like, I just can't anymore, if one more person asks me for something or needs something from me, I think I'm going to
Right,
explode. Right? In those moments, I presence myself and I say, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for this chaos. I am so grateful for these screaming children pulling at me. And I'm just so grateful that I had them. That, there are people who can't and desperately want to have them, and, would kill for the chaos I have, right?
right.
And then there's also reality moments where I need to just take a break and I say, excuse me, mommy's got to step away for a moment. And it's that, like, I don't really believe in balance. There's no such thing as real balance.
I agree with you.
Everything is just the way it is. Sometimes
It's
it's up,
crazy and
sometimes
sometimes
it's
it's
down.
not. Yeah,
Yeah, so up and down, but taking those moments out for yourself. And I think the times that I don't presence myself to that gratitude and also to what I'm creating, I think it's also having the vision. And this is a little bit off topic with the whole Valentine's Day thing, but I feel like, couples don't have a vision anymore after they've been together for a while of what they wanted their life to be, like what they want their future to be like you get to like this middle ground where it's just a doing, a doing, a doing, a doing,
okay, stop for a second. Say that again, because that was so stinking powerful. Like seriously,
Sometimes the simple things I forget how.
I can repeat it if you don't remember what you said, because
No,
that
no,
was
I think
amazing.
I remember what I said. So, when you get to like a certain point in your relationship and in your life, you become a doing machine, and you forget what your ultimate vision was for your life, for your relationship, and to come to that point and be in that like doing, you forget what your vision was. Like when you marry somebody or when you commit to somebody, you have all these beautiful ideas and visions, and you're like, I'm so excited. This is what we're going to live, this kind of a life. We're going to be in this. We're going to travel. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to, this is the way we're going to raise our kids. Our life is going to be this amazing thing. not perfect, but amazing for us. And then you get to a certain point where it's just doing, doing, doing. You forget the vision. One of my little visions.
And I
And
think that it's important that then when you start to forget, I think the power is going back and revisiting it or making a commitment to write down once a year what is our vision together?
what
Like, what is it
what
we're going to commit to together?
not right now.
So,
Okay. I need
really
time.
paying attention to what Ari just said, I think that was powerful. Recommitting or refocusing, or life changes. You're not the same person you were when you met your husband before you had
Yeah.
kids. And sometimes that, not that the vision change, the vision in the sense of loving each other deeply
Well,
and passionately.
it does, it shifts. It does shift. And I think that what you come up with when, or what you agree to when you first get together can shift and change. And I think that there should be a constant communication about those. And it's okay that when you first got together, you wanted one thing and then your life kind of goes, and then like a reevaluation, and then look at where do we want to go now? Is it the same? Or something that I have had my couples do is to um, go back to their first date, or go back to the moment when they knew they wanted to be together, and what was it like, feel it, be in that moment, and what was it that you really wanted? Why did you even like each other? Because some people forget forget that. Why do I like you again? What was it about that person that you so just wanted to be with for the rest of your life?
Right.
And if you like present yourself to that, and then from there, what did you want to experience in your relationship? Because, and it's really that, like, remembering your first date feelings um, can be really powerful, because like I said, we go and do and do and do. Even those of us who are very involved in personal development work, we take for granted those special moments. You know, so yeah, do that.
And I think some of the other fun stuff we talked about, I know you were talking about, I don't remember how that came up, but I said one of the things that I would love if I was in a relationship is is the power of touch. We were talking about, rub my feet or something, like, but rub me everywhere except the erogenous zones. What a powerful connection that would be, like, connect, connect, connect. And that's one of the things that I know that I would love.
Oh,
Remember we were talking about that?
yes, I love, yeah. And what I loved about what you were sharing is that it ties, one of my specialties is intimacy, and connecting intimacy beyond sex, because sex is great and I'm all for it, and I think that it's very important to a relationship, but there's so many other ways that you can connect with your partner that that's not sexual. Well, sexual, but not,
Right. It's almost like major foreplay.
and yeah, and you said one thing that's beautiful is about touching you from head to toe, and just in that moment, it's about what I was thinking about. It's about receiving. I think that's what we kind of got into, about receiving, and that we're so always, a lot of us are into always giving. So in that moment of, creating that intimate moment, you just sit there and receive, let it go, enjoy it, and it could lead to a great sex. I hope it does. But it doesn't have to either. It could be just a massage for that moment, and just receiving that touch, and it's a beautiful connection that you can have with your partner. And I love it. I'm going to actually add that into my recommendations. So, because I talk about massage and everything, but I hadn't,
Just, yeah,
like,
even like just softly touching
yeah,
everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, just what, yeah, there's a receiving, but it's, there's so many things, and something that also sparks my mind, that for a woman, erogenous or erotic, it starts in our mind. And for that receiving of that touch starts to get our mind going and our juices flowing. And then what I mentioned is that if a man understands that a woman's erotic moments begin in her mind, then he can be satisfied in the physical after he stimulates her mind and body. So both people will get what they want. Just have to know how to, like, how it works for each person, right? For each, it can be men or women, or and it can be individual needs and interests. But I thought that was really interesting, and I agree. I like it.
I love that. So I'm getting ready for my my future man to come in so we can
Yeah.
play like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you wanted to share? Because I'm so glad that we were able to redo this conversation
Yeah.
because I thought I left feeling so powerful and so empowered and so excited, about the day and really giving people some information, something that they could actually take and chew on and use.
Well, I'm so grateful for you inviting me and being part of your journal. I can't wait to receive mine. And, you know, I think that also incorporating the journal into your life, if you are somebody who is having trouble expressing your feelings and communication is an issue, begin by utilizing that journal to really share what you might not be able to share with your partner, and use the prompts because there's different people from different industries and modalities and everything that can give you ideas and bring it out, because I think sometimes we're afraid to express ourselves to our partner, and maybe beginning by writing it down, it will give you courage that it's not that weird or that strange or that bad. And then even reading it later, like like you said about um, the love cards, that you do it for yourself first to get it out, and then bringing it to your partner later when you feel a little bit more confident. So wherever you're at in the spectrum, there's so many things that you can do to connect with yourself and your partner, and don't give up. It's never too late. And I think both of us are testaments to that it's never too late to get what you want and desire in life and in love. That's
I
it.
love that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have a few tips that you can take so that you can make every day Valentine's Day, and every day you can find these delicious moments of gratitude to really celebrate your life and to celebrate the people around you. And I will post this in different places and share the link to the to Ariana, and I will share the link to the journal as well as some other goodies that are coming up. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.